Okay, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister's interview sets the stage for what I want to raise is the big issue of the day. It's Constitution Day and it's turned into a debate over secularism inside Parliament. And the question is, have our MPs really failed Dr. Ambedkar and his vision? His vision when it came to equality, when it came to liberty, when it came to fraternity. Has that vision been failed by our country's constitution makers, by our members of Parliament? Joining me now, Babul Supriyo, Minister in the government of Narendra Modi, Ashwini Kumar, former cabinet minister and minister in the government of Manmohan Singh, B.J. Pranda, member of Parliament of the Biju Janata Dal, and Prakash Ambedkar, grandson of Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar, is also joining me on Skype from Pune. I want to ask you, Ashwini Kumar, first. There's a sense today in the debate that the Congress believes that it has the sole monopoly to define what is secularism in the country. The moment Rajnath Singh tried to define it, Sonia Gandhi and then Mallikarjun Kharge virtually leapt on him. In fact, Mr. Kharge went to the extent of saying there'll be bloodshed in the country if the constitution is changed in any manner. I want to understand, does the Congress believe it alone understands what is secularism? And can the Congress defend its track record in this country when it comes to actually protecting the minorities or ensuring equal rights for citizens?
The entire country knows that if there has been one non-negotiable with the Congress party, that has been preservation of the secular ethos of this country.
But it's just a word, sir. Sorry to intervene.
Of what secularism means.
Sorry, please define it for me, because this is a country where over the last 70 years, as some are suggesting, this has been a misused word. In the name of secularism, some would say minorities have not really benefited and there has been discriminatory treatment, or in some instances riots have taken place. So what is the Congress's track record to defend your claim that you safeguard secularism as seen by our founding fathers?
Just because Mr. Rajnath Singh today has given a spin to the word secularism does not mean that the secularism as understood by the people does not exist. Secularism in its widest manifestation means equal respect for all religions, the right of different religious denominations to live peaceably and peacefully with each other. We have forever and ever known what secularism is all about. I think I cut here.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I've lost.
No, go ahead. Please go ahead.
We have always known what secularism is all about. And the Supreme Court has defined secularism for us if we want a clearer definition. The Bombay judgment spells out the concept of secularism as Sarva Dharma Sambhav and equal respect for all religions, where religion is not to encroach upon the secular activity of the state. Now, the idea of secularism was rooted and is rooted in the history of India. At the time of partition, the kind of bloodshed that took place required that the minorities in India be assured of their protection, of their identity, and of their cultural preferences. And that is why it had become an article of faith.
It was not included in the Constitution. Let's be clear, sir. With due apologies, it was not included in the Constitution in 1950. It was brought into the Constitution in 1970, in the mid-70s by Indira Gandhi. That is the reality of secularism. It was not part of the original Constitution.
Rajdeep, we are all aware of that.
Yes.
And let me tell you that the entire debate on secularism in the Constitution, including what Panditji said and what Baba Sahib said, is there for everybody to read. It was argued at that point of time that secularism, being so fundamental a feature of the Indian way of life, that it doesn't necessarily require to be expressly stated in the preamble of the Constitution. However, in the course of the functioning of the Constitution, in 1976, it was felt that time necessary to make explicit what was already implicit in the Constitution.
Okay.
I do not see
You will not
any possible objection to make explicit what was always understood and implicit
So
in the constitution and as part of a civilizational ethos.
And you
We
don't
own-
accept
and
the
let me-
Congress
one more
misused
minute.
it. And you
In
don't
the-
accept
in-
you don't accept the Congress has misused
No.
it, reduced it at times to petty vote bank politics. That's something you will not accept. You are not going to accept that ideal secularism as Sarva Dharma Samabhav as defined by our founding fathers has been misused. You don't accept that, right? You will not accept that.
Absolutely not. And I
Despite
think after
84,
hearing
despite
Venkaiah ji,
84,
I must
despite the
say,
riots that have taken place during Congress regimes, you will not accept that from time to time the word secularism has not been given, has been misused by the Congress party. You don't accept it. Am I correct?
I mean, I'm surprised that you make that point, Rajdeep. An aberration or an infraction of a particular right or of a particular thought does not mean that we have misused it.
Okay.
Nobody has ever said that that was an official policy of the Congress party. We have said that 1984 should never have happened, and the whole country's head hangs in shame. We have repeatedly talked about it. As far as secularism is concerned, that has never been a tool for vote bank politics. It has been an article of faith with us. And at least give us that credit, that if there has been one non-negotiable throughout the history of the Congress party as a political party, it has been an unswerving commitment to secularism as widely understood as meaning peaceful coexistence of all faiths and religions in our country.
Babul Supriyo, you're hearing Ashwini Kumar saying it's an article of faith for the Congress. Before I widen the debate to other issues in the context of Ambedkar, let me look at what Rajnath Singh says. Rajnath Singh says Dharma Nirpekshta has to be changed to Panthik Dharma Nirpekshta. I'm not able to understand what is the distinction. The BJP in the past has sworn by Hindutva. The politics of Hindutva surely did not have space in Baba Sahib Ambedkar's vision of this country. That does not reconcile with what Baba Sahib Ambedkar said. So while you can accuse the Congress of misusing secularism, the answer to that is clearly not Hindutva politics. Babul Supriyo, do you accept that Hindutva politics is not the answer to the Congress's alleged misuse of secularism?
Yes. No. Well, Rajiv, while it is, let's not get into this preaching mode. What is very, very important to me is this one word that came out that is ringing in my ears from whatever that has been said in the last 5 minutes. That is the term, that is the word non-negotiable. I genuinely would say that letting the parliament function and the parliament being the forum of debate is one non-negotiable that needs to be embedded in the hearts of every parliamentarian inside the parliament, irrespective of their political colors.
No, but you're saying that today when you're in government.
Parliament which has the highest number of.
You're saying that today when you are in government. The fact is when you are in the opposition, you would say something else. And that is where you can hear, you know what Dr. Ambedkar said? Dr. Ambedkar precisely said this. Working of a constitution does not depend upon the nature of the constitution. It depends on the people who will
Raju,
be asked to.
Allow me 15.
Yes.
Allow me 15 seconds. What I'm saying is that this is a parliament which has the largest number of first-timers, right? Newcomers. We know that. That's a number. That's a mathematics. Now, if Congress feels that previously the opposition, whether it was BJP, whether it was others, if they did not play the role, whether the parliament was obstructed and that was not the right way to go about it, let them create an example by not doing that anymore. So let me be very honest and let me not create any areas of confrontation before the entire country looks at the parliament passing the necessary reform bills, passing the reforms that the country needs at this hour. That is the mood in the country, that is the mood in the economic circles, the business circles, and therefore let it not be, let us grow above tit for tat politics. If Congress feels that BJP has not been a responsible opposition, if for argument's sake we take that argument, then let them behave like I would expect that from Monday they are going to be a responsible opposition.
I want to come back to my question.
Of each and
Babul Supriyo,
that is going to be passed in the parliament.
I want to come back to my question and I'm going to ask my producer to put that. This debate is about Baba Sahib Ambedkar. And the fact is, I'm going to just quote Jai Panda what Baba Sahib Ambedkar said. He said, however good a constitution may be, it is sure to turn out bad because those who are called to work it happen to be a bad lot. However bad a constitution may be, it may turn out to be good if those who are called to work on it happen to be a good lot. This was 1950. We are now in 2015. Would you concede that our lawmakers have not done justice to what Baba Sahib Ambedkar has said? In fact, the constitution as a result has had to be reviewed and revised several times because amendments have been introduced at times to the benefit of one political party or the other.
Well, that's true. We have far too many amendments to the constitution. But first let us understand something. You were talking about secularism, and I believe that India and Indians are inherently secular, and if that were not so, irrespective of what was in the constitution, there would have been not a shred of secularism in our everyday experience in this country. Now, having said that, I mean, we can discuss about the form that secularism has taken in India, and we should consider really that in a constitutional democracy, secularism should mean that each and every citizen, each individual, not groups of people, are treated identically by the law. And I think we have some ways to go towards, achieving that.
Has that happened? Baba Sahib Ambedkar, for example, spoke of, I'm going to just tell you, Baba Sahib Ambedkar spoke of equality. Have we got true equality in this country? He said political democracy cannot work without social democracy. Have we got social democracy in this country? I'm just saying today we are debating on Constitution Day, Ambedkar and the contribution to the Constitution. Have you, when I say you, I mean MPs in general, have our political class in general failed Dr. Ambedkar?
Well, look, let us clearly understand that Indian democracy is very largely successful.
1 minute, Babul Supriyo, 1 minute. Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Indian democracy has empowered hundreds of millions of people into getting social justice and social empowerment, which was not there for millennia. So, but the fact is that Parliament isn't functioning well. We must acknowledge that, and even if there are many individual MPs who want to contribute properly and work properly in Parliament, there are systemic problems that need to be addressed, and we have to put aside the tutu meme that has been going on. The party that's in government today, when it was in opposition, had created hurdles. The opposition today had been in government, but today it has been creating hurdles. I think at some point we need to say enough is enough and just leave that part behind.
Enough is enough, because Prakash Ambedkar, I'm again going to quote Baba Sahib, on the multitude of political parties, he said they will be a bane for India. My anxiety is deepened by the realization of the fact that in addition to our old enemies in the forms of castes and creeds, we are going to have many political parties with diverse and opposing political creeds. Do you believe that Dr. Ambedkar, when he sees what is happening in Parliament on a daily basis, would be extremely depressed?
Yeah, you see, because what we say is that we have unity in diversity. Now, these diversities are being exploited by the political parties around the country. And when these diversities get reflected, it's the political leadership that's the casualty. And today, more or less, I can say that we are heading in a way where we are becoming leaderless. Now let's take the Congress, which was a ruling party for last 60 years in this country. It lost its election badly, and today everybody is talking about the same thing about its existence. If tomorrow in 2019, again the parliament elections are held, and the same fate BJP face as they face in Delhi, then what is left? You are left with the state leaders, and the state leaders then have to work on for a national leader. Are we saying that this diversity, which we say should have been brought into unity, or use the word of Dr. Ambedkar, is that this heterogeneous mass needs to be converged and concurrent on some common point where it becomes a rallying point for them to say that this is what we have achieved. None of the political parties have addressed this heterogeneous mass to get converted into some sort of unifying force in this country for the last 60 years. And this is what we are saying, that you are neither working on equality, you are neither working on secularism, neither you are working on economic freedom, which can be a rallying point for the people to come to stay together. We have none.
No, 1 minute.
Now let's take the secularism which has been defined.
Yes.
You see, today's secularism, if you see, the minorities have placed their total rights in the hands of the majority. And the majority is represented by the Hindu force. And the Hindu force is represented by the BJP. And who's making the noise? It's the BJP which is making the noise.
No, no, 1 minute. But on the other hand, on the other hand, many would argue that the Congress, on the other hand, has gone to the other
I
extreme.
will say, I will put Congress and BJP in the same platform.
Okay, the Congress
The
and the
only
B.
difference between the two is that one is a hard Hindutva and the other is a soft Hindutva.
Okay,
That's
hard-
the only difference which they have. But both are
BJP,
Hindutva.
just a minute.
Therefore, the minorities, religious minorities and the caste minorities, both have placed their faith in the hands of the majority, religious majority or the caste majority. And the caste majority and the religious majority, they are the people who are shouting on top of the voice that this is what is being exploited.
Okay, hold on,
Do they have
Prakash
the right to
Ambedkar.
exploit, right?
Prakash
Do they have
Ambedkar,
the
just
right
hold on.
to,
Prakash
agitate
Ambedkar, I'm going to have to stop you there. You're making a very serious point. You're saying the BJP practices hard Hindutva, the Congress practices soft Hindutva, neither of which would, I believe, frame within what Ambedkar conceptualized as secularism. Let me then come to you, Ashwini Kumar, because there is another thing that Ambedkar said. He said that when the danger to democracy is when you resort to bhakti or hero worship, it is a sure road to degradation and to eventual dictatorship. Let's be clear, all our political parties today, virtually all of them, work on a high command culture. Today you are swearing allegiance to the constitution. But the fact is that, as Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar says, the worst thing that you can do is allow political parties to get involved in what is seen as hero worshipping. And even Ambedkar has been reduced to a statue. So what moral authority do you all really have to actually talk about a vibrant democracy?
Well, I don't know how it applies to the Congress party.
The Congress party doesn't engage in high command
structure of
culture? Is that
collective
not hero
leadership.
worship?
The High Command is the supreme authority within a party, but that does not detract or take away from the concept of internal democracy and collective leadership in the party. In fact, what Dr. Ambedkar said, and to quote him precisely, is he exhorted the people of India not to lay, to quote him, their liberties at the feet of anyone, howsoever powerful he may be. And that applies squarely to the present leadership of the BJP. We have seen the transformation
How is it
of BJP
different to your leadership? I'm sorry.
Party.
I'm sorry, every political party today is virtually a one man or a one woman show. Or a one family show. That's the nature of Indian politics.
Well, you may be,
How does that fit in with what the constitution, what Babasaheb Ambedkar saw as the future?
You may be sorry, but don't forget that the people you talk about as supreme leaders of A party or B party are people whose leadership has been validated in free and fair elections within their parties, and by their having received the love and affection of the people of the country at large. Therefore, that does not take away from the concept of collective leadership and inner party democracy.
Okay,
we have stood by it, we have organizational elections, but let us go to a more substantive debate. The debate today is, what is the kind of political culture that has come to the fore in the last 18 months in this country? Is it not true that intolerance is on the rise? Is it not true that fundamental liberties of the people are under attack? Is it not true that there is a frontal assault on the liberal conscience of the Constitution? Is it not true that the conscience keepers of the country on an unprecedented scale have returned their badges of honor out of sheer anguish and desperation? And now when Amir Khan says, look, I feel insecure in the country, instead of applying the correctives, you begin to shoot the messenger and have a sedition case in Muzaffarpur against him in order to intimidate other voices of dissent.
So you are
These are the issues that today have to be debated in the framework of the Constitution.
You're saying these issues, the issue of intolerance has to be debated within the framework of the Constitution. Quick response from you, Babul Supriyo. Would Ambedkar?
Of course.
How would Ambedkar look at how would Ambedkar look at those who say go to Pakistan? How would Ambedkar look at a beef ban? Let's be clear. How would Ambedkar look at someone who wants to exercise his food choice and be told go to Pakistan?
Let's not. Rajdeep, I'm happy that I did not get much time to speak. I was been hearing. I think it is time for politicians to actually get to work and speak less. Enough of this preaching and this doctrines and everything else. If you really respect Baba Sahib Ambedkar, if you're talking about a good constitution, a bad constitution, good politicians and bad politicians, let's understand that in this society, if a politician is a bad word, if a politician is a corrupt person, if a politician is someone who has let the country down, if he has not worked for the people, if they are the ones who are responsible for India not being what it aspired to be, then I think there is some serious problem in the way the politicians have conducted
That is
themselves
precisely
to
it.
derive at that particular definition for a politician. And let's not get into that debate about, yes, so let me finish. So who are the people who have actually ruled the country for more than over 50 years out of the 67 years of independence? So let's not get into that larger debate. What I want to say is that if any career politician, we have career politicians in every political party, if we think that the politicians have not been what Baba Sahib Ambedkar aspired them to be, what the constitution wants them to behave, let us create new examples, because this is the time to do it and speak less and to understand that the country is waiting, wanting to hear the debates about what is good and what is bad for them, irrespective of the bill getting passed or not getting passed.
Let's leave it there, Babu Supriyo.
For us, because we have maximum number of newcomers in the parliament.
Let's leave it there.
Create, yes,
let's leave it there.
Create new examples.
Okay, let's leave it there. I'm running out of time, but I'm going to leave you with a quote of Baba Sahib Ambedkar. This much is certain, that if political parties place creed above country, our independence will be put in jeopardy a second time and probably be lost forever. This eventuality we must all resolutely guard against. We must be determined to defend our independence with the last drop of our blood. And this is a question that political parties have to ask themselves. Have they placed creed above country at times over the last 65 years? Jai Panda, Prakash Ambedkar, Ashwini Kumar, Babul Supriyo, I appreciate your joining us on our talking point here on the news today. Let's turn.
Nisagama manipamaga nipamaga sanipamani sapasa जहाँ तक याद आती रहेगी